The fourth scenario. This scenario is a very complicated scenario. Scholars have, throughout history, multiple opinions about this, because we also have various hadiths about this. And scholars have to analyze these hadiths, see which of them are authentic, how applicable they are, how do you resolve them with some Islamic principles and laws. So I will give you the summary of the mainstream view of ulama and scholars regarding this issue. The first part of this scenario is if you eat and Fajr comes out. Let's say Fajr is around 5 a.m. Back then people didn't have like clocks to know the exact timing. So people would know that Fajr has arrived through the signs. Like that white light that is spread in the horizon, for example. These were some kind of signs that people would rely on. Or if they had some sort of timekeeping, maybe it wasn't that accurate to the minute. So let's say it's 4 something right now, 4:50 something, around that time. And the person doesn't know whether it is Fajr or not. Now, focus on this scenario. We have 2 dimensions to this scenario. The first dimension is, are you allowed to eat in those moments when you doubt whether Fajr has arrived or not? So we're talking about halal and haram. Are you allowed or not allowed? The second dimension are, what are the consequences? There's a difference between the two. Sometimes if something is halal for you to do, it doesn't mean it doesn't have consequences. It may have consequences. So let's start with the first dimension. It's 4:50 something. I doubt. I don't know. Is it Fajr or no? Can I eat according to Islamic law, or I'm not allowed to eat?
You are.
Okay. You say you are allowed to eat. Based on what principle are you saying that? The law of continuity, istishab. Istishab says, 10, 20 minutes ago you were sure it was night. Continue that nightness into the current situation and assume that it's still night until you have evidence that it's Fajr. So according to Islamic law, you're allowed to eat and drink in those doubtful minutes. That means if you eat and it happens to be Fajr in reality,
the law of ihtiyat,
you did not commit a sin. You don't pay kafara, because it was not something that's deliberate. You actually had an Islamic principle that allowed you to eat. So it's halal for you to eat. However, what are the consequences? Here's the consequences. If you ended up eating, only to discover later, actually it was Fajr time. Fajr had already come out when I ate. I was depending on istishab, so I didn't incur a sin. However, I discovered that 5 minutes after Fajr I ate. In that case, what do you have to do? You have to do the qadha of that day. So it's permissible for you in those doubtful moments to eat. But remember, there could be consequences. If it turns out to be, it comes to your attention, you develop certainty and yaqeen that it was in Fajr when I ate, you have to make up that day. Yes, if it stays a doubt, meaning you ate during those minutes and then days pass by and you don't have certainty that you ate in Fajr, you assume that your siyam is sahih. But if it was brought to your attention that I ate after Fajr.
why not to apply the law of ihtiyat there?
See, the law of ihtiyat is good. Obviously, it's good to do ihtiyat. That's why we have the imsak time, which is actually based on precaution, those like 10, 15 minutes. However, you're not required to do ihtiyat because you have istishab. Istishab overrides ihtiyat. Istishab says you can consider it night and treat it like night. But remember, istishab is called hukum zahiri. It's only an apparent ruling. It's not a hukum waqi'i. It's not an actual ruling. Istishab says, I want to make life easier for you. It's not haram for you. You can still eat. But are there consequences? Yeah, maybe. If it turns out that you were wrong, you may have to make up that day. Because Allah wants a full day from you. So istishab does not negate the consequences sometimes. It only makes it halal for you. So if you ate based on istishab, and you just continued and you never discovered anything, you're fine. But if it was brought to your attention that that moment that you ate, in fact Fajr was already, observed at that time. If you have certainty, that means you have to make up that day.